You sent in your most common questions, and Robert will answer them, giving you insights you won't hear anywhere else. It is truly my honor to introduce to you founder and CEO of Skills to Change Institute and the creator of eutaptics and FasterEFT. Robert Jean is known as the Einstein of the mind. He has spent over 4 decades helping people rewrite memories, shift emotional patterns, and create measurable, lasting change. Before we get started, hit subscribe so you can grow with us every single week, exploring the mind, human behavior, and practical skills that will truly transform your life. And now, here is Sir Robert Jean.
The questions, lots of questions. A lot of people have asked me over the years because they maybe see a video or they see a business card. They go, "What do you do? How does it work?" Etc. I'm selling the ranch here, and my realtor came over and she said, "What do you really do?" I said, "Well, I'm a behavioral engineer. I help people change fears, phobias, traumas, PTSD in a very fast way. Physical pains, weight loss." He goes, "Well, I got a fear." So, "Well, what is this?" It's claustrophobic, and I know where it started. It just didn't happen that long ago. And I said, "Well, if you want, I can help you with it. Just, go along, do whatever I say, and we'll just do it." So 5 minutes later, the fear is gone. She goes, "That's so weird. When I first went there, my hands were sweating as if I was there. And then now I can't even remember. I know it happened, but I can't see it in my head anymore." And so I finished up on it with a positive thing. And she goes, "Well, why does that work?" It's because I went and I looked at it and I logically understood it. I said, "Listen, you already logically understood why you had it. It didn't change it. What I'm doing is neurologically changing the data written on the cortices. That's why it works." And of course, people want to know how thumping on your head is going to make a problem go away. That's $1 million question. And it's very simple. It does work. I understand the mathematics behind it, or the mechanics behind it. And like I say, you don't have to believe in it. It still works. So the big question, why does it work? How does it work? They got lots of questions. And of course, people watch me. It is an art form. I believe it's an art form. I'm not any special than you are. I put it together and I accumulate information, organized it, worked with it a lot, so I understand the mechanics of the mind. And I intuitively do it. Now, intuition doesn't mean I'm some kind of psychic. It just means I've done it a million times. I know what I'm doing. I know how it works. I know where it's going. So, yeah. So yeah, I'm ready for the questions for sure.
All right. Okay.
Guys, if you really like this content and it's really helping you, I bet you can think of other people you could share this with, and do share it. And help me get this news out. Subscribe, share the videos, practice what I'm sharing with you, make it a part of your existence, and you can have a better life. Other people need it too. So keep sharing, keep working on yourself. Take some of my trainings, your life will get better.
So let's start with this question. What is the biggest miracle of changing memories that happened during one single session that you've had?
Well, I don't like the word miracles, but I've
Well,
seen,
we'll roll with it.
I've seen some amazing things happen in front of me, a lot, not just one. I usually go back to my beginning days, because those stick out the loudest for me. A woman who had corporal tunnel, had pain in her arm, and it's been there ever since 10 years or so. And this is at the very, very beginning. And from 0 to 10, it was a 7. And by merely going to memories and adjusting the memories, without even talking about the arm, I went to the cause, which is unpleasant experiences. I changed those memories, I changed the references, and went back, and the pain was gone. So that's one of the first ones. My wife's sitting at the end of the bed, and she has this unpleasant look on her face, and she has pain, the stomach pain. I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "No, my stomach hurts." I said, "Have you tried tapping?" That's in the early days. "No, it hurts too much." I said, "I worked on it and it's gone." So I can move up, where one of the early days, the Yukon paper, it came out, or I went to the Yukon paper and they did an interview, and one of their journalists had me do a session on her. And of course, the session was profound. I mean, I did some really big stuff. I don't remember now what it was. And they had this big write-up in the paper. And so I'd get phone calls. And one lady booked a session. And of course, at the time I was working at the gym. I was doing massage also. And this is like getting my stuff organized and about structure of tapping, etc. So I meet her at the front and she's walking with a walker, like going really slow to my office. And I thought she wanted a massage. I didn't know what she was there for. I said, "What are you here for?" She said, "Well, that article in the paper." I said, "What's the problem?" She says, "Well, my leg hurts. I've had a problem with this leg forever. I bumped the coffee table. Now I can hardly walk." So I have a process called the art of change, which basically elicits structure and strategy. And come to find out, she had an early experience at 12 years old. She stepped out of a 57 Chevy and a rattlesnake bit her leg.
Ooh.
And so the ambulance came, mom and dad, they all go to the hospital. And on the hospital bed, she can hear the doctor say she's dead. By the way, if you die, your brain is still working about 3 to 10 minutes later. And she could hear her mother scream. And then next thing you know, they bring her back to life.
Mhm.
So that memory became what we'd call an imprint. And so from that imprint, our brain utilizes it and repeats it over and over again. So when I got done with the session, she walked out carrying that walker. True story.
Oh, wow.
True story. And here's another big true story. I was in Wichita, Kansas. Now, these are early days. These are back probably
Wow.
2021, 2022. I've seen bigger these are all big ones. To me, those are big
Right.
ones.
Yeah.
So this woman, I was in a river retreat in Wichita, Kansas. It's like a hippie hangout. There's like 110 people, and I'm the presenter.
Fun.
And this woman, she looked old, and she volunteered and she shuffled to the chair like this, really, really old. And I said, "How can I help you? And what's going on?" She goes, I woke up one morning and my hands were like this and I couldn't move it. So they went to the chiropractor and they put what you call an E-stem on it. And they put little pads here. And she said, what they do is they adjust the current just enough so you can feel it kind of loosen whatever it is. And she said, I've been there many times. And then this last time I went, there was a new nurse, a new person there. And so they put the pads on and they adjust it. Do you feel it? No. You feel it? No. Feel it? No. And then she kept turning up. No. And she realized it wasn't turned on. So while it was full blast, she turned it on. And she felt like she's being electrocuted. Well, she had whelps on her hands this big on both sides. And in front of the group, I addressed the memories, and what drove the memory and why she was there is because her daughter was driving on the highway. She missed a deer, hit a tree, and killed herself. And then in the morning, she woke up like this because of the emotional trauma. So in front of everybody, I worked on that, and the lumps on her hand went half down.
Wow.
She didn't shuffle. She walked back to her seat.
Mm.
All right.
Wow.
And then 6 months later, the testimony was on YouTube somewhere, and she talks about it. The lumps are completely gone. And so those are the early big days,
They used electrical stimulation. They call it E-stim. Well, this one morning, a new therapist was there, and she goes to the machine and she turns it up. I didn't say anything, so she turned it up some more, and she turned around to me and she said, "Do you feel anything?" I said, "No." So she turned it up again, and she turned around. She said, "Do you feel anything now?" And I said, "No." Well, at that point, I guess she realized that she didn't have it turned on. So rather than turn it down, turn it on, and start over, she had this turned up, and she flipped that switch and turned it on, and I didn't even realize I was screaming. She burned me so badly that it was red and brown from being burnt. And I had lumps where fluid had built up underneath. For 3 years I suffered. And it looked awful.
The lumps on her hand went down. They weren't gone.
The pain level was better. I felt a release that night. I knew that I knew that I'd found something that was going to help me.
Guys, if you really like this content and it's really helping you, I bet you can think of other people you could share this with, and do share it. And help me get this news out. Subscribe, share the videos, practice what I'm sharing with you, make it a part of your existence, and you can have a better life. Other people need it too. So keep sharing, keep working on yourself. Take some of my trainings, your life will get better. Where are more? I've seen so many, people with real pain. There's a video on YouTube. It's a very old one. I do a lot of new ones too, but for me, the old one sticks out the loudest because they're like eurekas.
Mhm.
So Dale, his girlfriend, had paid for a seminar to come see me on a weekend seminar. And I'm talking about how the brain works and how pain works and all this stuff. And I said, Dale, after lunch, let's work on your shoulder. He said, well, I don't think it's going to work. I fell down a flight of steps. They did an MRI. They can see that there's actually calcium buildup. I said, I understand. And so he goes to lunch, says, this is all silly. It ain't going to work. So you can see me pull him up. And I started addressing memories around what, where, why, and how. Because if he just raises his arm, it's like a 7 like this. In less than 10 minutes, he's rolling his arm like this. He's shaking his head. I don't believe this. And he's rolling around.
Right.
And of course, how I changed it, I addressed references inside of his head, memories and experiences, and self-judgment. And so he went home that evening, a Saturday. And so he came back Sunday. And I had Dale come on up, said, tell me how your yesterday went. I said, oh, it was pretty good. I went home. I went to see my mom. And then this morning I woke up, mowed, and weeded the yard. Something I hadn't been able to do since I've hurt myself.
0, no pain, 10, high pain.
If I don't move it,
There you go. All right, move it to where if you can, we're
if
just
I move it, it's up to a 10.
so if you just move it like this, it's a 10.
If I move it up,
So, I mean, you do what you want. I just want to test. So, you do have pain? Right there's a 10? Now, notice where it's at right there. Okay, you put it back down. And I'll do it. Try again. Still there a little bit? Of course, yesterday we worked on it pain.
Yep.
How long did you have it?
Well, I broke the arm in March
Of this year.
of this year.
This is what? August? It's several months ago.
Got a steel rod in it, had surgery, the whole 9 yards.
And
It's not healing real well. And they are still, I guess, contemplating another surgery to plate it or to do some bone grafts.
that's since you've been having a lot of pain?
Yep.
Okay. And then,
And I haven't been able to, I've got a lot of calcium built up in it, is what they told me, because I haven't been able to move it because it hurts. All the pain's pretty much gone.
so, Melinda, you encouraged him to come because he had pain in his arm, right?
Well, more than that, but
Right. But I know when you were sitting over there, I said, well, we'll work on you. You went to lunch.
Mhm.
What was your thoughts about that before you got in the chair?
that it wasn't going to work. Well, I knew it wasn't going to work.
You knew it wasn't going to
All
work.
right.
But there was a point right here when you lift your arm says, I don't believe this, or I can't believe it, this is weird or something.
Mhm.
Right. You went home yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do if you got home?
Get up this morning, mowed the yard,
Front and back.
front and back. Haven't been able to do it in one sitting. So,
And weed eated.
and weed eated, and edged.
That, to me, that's amazing.
It is to me.
And this is a true story. His girlfriend stood up and said, I paid for this seminar. And I've been mowing and weeding this grass for 6 months. That's the best investment I've ever done. That's a true story. And her name's Linda too. But so, yeah, his name is Dell. But these are all real stories. And these are beginning stages. We're talking about people who use my system. Now, not necessarily I worked on them all the time, but I made big changes. When someone comes in with a diagnosed illness, real nerve damage, like I can't remember what his name is now. But anyway, so he had real nerve damage, 13 angiograms, go to his brain, put stents in his brain, and he has to, had morphine patches to monitor the pain. And, of course, he comes in and we're not really addressing pain, but said, what about my pain? So we work on pain too. We did stop smoking, his pain, and his pain, like I said, he had pain, nerve damage, medication to monitor the pain. And I went back to the stories that built the pain, which he hated his wife. He's going through a divorce. He hated a doctor. He hated himself. He hated everything, right? And so we addressed the memories, and he didn't hate anybody. And then I said, let's check your pain. Pain's completely gone.
The most amazing thing I've ever had happen in my life, and really, we all have amazing things, but this is a situation that I have been dealing with it very terribly. Pain. My right vertebral artery was. I had a blood clot in it, and they had to go back up my groin and bust the blood clot. Then they went back up it again and put a stent. They had done like 12 or 13, or invaded my brain like 12 or 13 times. We went through the tapping method, and hey, folks, I'm not lying to you. Robert quit, and he says, "How's the pain?" And I said, "It's gone." And this is after 4 or 5 years. I was treated 1 year, a couple years ago for, I was on morphine and spent a month in the hospital trying to get off of it. And my groin, the pain has gone, the burning is gone, and I haven't taken any, I haven't smoked a cigarette since last Tuesday afternoon about 2 o'clock. I've never been happier in my life.
And the VA doctors are he got special permission to use the patch, because they said once this nerve is damaged, it cannot be repaired, it will not heal itself, and yet he's pain-free now. He's suffered from a terrific amount of burning, and it's been a miracle.
So he left, and I don't know, I can't remember, I don't know timelines because it's so long ago. He came back, saw me again, he had this big stack of papers, said, look, nerve damage. I'll be in pain for the rest of my life. And there's still no pain. So, and then of course, Ronnie, I just recently did a session on her. She was in a wheelchair. She had an implant in her leg to some kind of E-stem or something. I don't know what it is, running so she can kind of walk. So she went to see one of my practitioners in Ireland, and still limping around, and rolled in a wheelchair. And then she came to Greece when I was doing a seminar there, and I pulled her up several times, did sessions on her. And by Friday, she was actually dancing at our Friday party that we do in the seminars.
Medically, what I have is a tumor on my spinal cord that damaged the nerves that goes to my legs. So that was actually a really long journey for about 10 years of getting more and more pain and trying to solve it in medical ways and holistic ways, until I got to the point that I can't walk. So the level of pain was that strong that trying to move my little toe would just get me to scream. And but my body rejected everything. My body didn't agree to accept everything, including a spinal cord stimulator, which is a electrode inside my spine that's supposed to change the nerve signal that goes to the brain. But we know better now. And a pacemaker and a battery that was implanted in my ass. I prefer the word ass than butt.
You were really at a pretty low place. I mean, you can't walk, you move your toe, you're in pain.
Yes, I wrote my goodbye letter before I went to Ireland. It wasn't about not being able to move. It was about suffering from so much pain and knowing that it's not only physical pain, it's an emotional pain, and I'm trapped.
Yeah.
So I was ready to check out.
Yeah.
Level 1 with you in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And after those week and 5 days, I turned off the spinal cord stimulator, and that was the end of October 2017. And I didn't turn on since then.
You know,
and
like
I was dancing at the end of the course.
But that's also, dancing was very important for you. I mean,
Oh my God, that's amazing, because I was so focused. That's one of the, for me, like the proof of how the mind works.
and of course, her life changed tremendously. And so, the brain has a way of linking things together and expressing it. And by the way, pain's designed to keep you safe. My life as I live now is a miracle because I'm doing something I could never imagine to do. I see people who take my courses who are really sick, fibromyalgia, ME, Hashimoto's disease, and lupus, and blood tested there, blood tested gone by using my system, working on the self and following along. So there's millions of different testimonials for sure.
Right. Yeah. And you have so many of them up on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. So some of these questions that I'll ask next will tie into what you're talking about now. These are some questions from some students. Which perceptual position changes a memory faster?
If most people may not know what perceptual positions are, then let me kind of explain what they are. All right. I talk about what trauma is and how trauma works. Everybody has trauma. Everybody has PTSD. Now, trauma isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing too. There's two sides of trauma, one with pain, one with pleasure. And so what the brain will do, you witness something outside you and your brain will internalize it. That means if you've seen a beating or a mean parent or whatever, when you visit in your mind, you're not visiting the real event. You're visiting a personalized translation of that event and distortion too. And so what the brain does, it will create memories of what witnessed outside of us. And it's called, now I use NLP, neurolinguistic programming. What I use it for is for mechanics of the mind, what the mind is actually doing. Right. So when we talk about perceptual positions, now every one of you can test it. Think about a positive memory. And as you think about a positive memory, notice how you notice the memories there. And one position is when you think about it, you're actually in the memory as if it's happening around you. That's first position. Third position is you remember the event, but you see you and them in the event as if you're a fly on the wall. That's third position. And so second position is you witness something, you experience something, and you internalize it as if you were feeling what they were feeling, and as if you're thinking what they're thinking. That's second position. A lot of people they call themselves empaths. I call them emotional suicide. It's like not a very smart thing to imagine other people's pain because you create it within you.
Right.
So second position is that you think you feel other people's stuff. You don't. You're translating it. So first position, I'm in my body. Second position, I'm feeling what they felt and what they think. And third position, I'm watching on a movie screen. All of these are good positions to change the memory. Usually, when the memory is more intense, you're usually in first position, but not always. For some people, if they see it as third position, seeing what happened to them, it could be more emotionally intense. But usually it's usually richer from first position. Second position is I feel my mother's pain. I can feel it
Right.
now. That's just as real as first position because it is internalized.
Yes. Why do you think that second position, like for the highly sensitive people, why do you think they're feeling? Is that a protective mechanism? Are they
Well,
highly aware? What's happening? Because
this happens a lot. And that's the thing is, we project, we presume, and we project. So when we see somebody, we imagine as if we're feeling it too. It's also called mirror neurons. You watch something happen, you're
yes,
internalizing it, but you're internalizing it your way, not their way. Because you can have five
true.
people witness the same training or experience, and all five people internalize it differently.
Hmm.
It's called borrow learning. A lot of people will hear a story her mother told you as a child about your birth or about something else. We
Right.
will internalize it and create a memory we will call a false memory, and we think it's real. And it is real only inside you.
Interesting. Um, so I do that. So I'm just admitting it here.
All right.
Okay, so
I
if
got I
I'm
got I got some advice for you.
okay,
Stop it.
it. I know, stop it. But
Because
so for
because
me, I
because
can
you,
walk.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I could walk through the grocery store and I could look at someone and I'm like, oh, they have lower back pain.
Yeah. Well, again, yeah, that may be good for you because you can learn to have lower back pain.
Well, I did that once actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I actually took it on.
Yeah. Well, it's not you took it on. You didn't take nothing from them. You translated and personalized it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, a lot of empaths get really mad at me when I say this.
Oh, I believe it.
I call empathic people emotional suiciders, and because I call them the emotional encyclopedia of emotional mess. And you look at their life, and they built this, and they can see somebody and feel their pain. They don't really feel their pain. They're projecting pain based on what they witness and see.
Hmm.
And it doesn't, and by the way, you're not taking their pain from them either. You're just building your own. And so they get so good at this, they have to live in the woods for the fear of the energies are going to get them. But yet in the woods, they can still do it just by merely thinking and recalling. So it's really a self form of
Hmm.
bad entertainment, really.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that's good. The next question, which ties into a lot of the things you were talking about regarding the healing, or you were talking about um, it was, I think they called it a miracle. Uh, but anyway, here's the question. In the art of change, and you'll have to explain what that is, one of the categories is metaphoric expression. Can you give us an example of a problem and a possible metaphoric expression of that problem?
Well, let's start backwards.
Okay.
Overeating. Why would people overeat? Overeating is a metaphoric expression of emotional trainings. All right. So again, we think overeating is a problem or your weight's a problem. Both of those are metaphoric expressions. What are the expressions of? Emotional conditions and conditionings. So for someone to overeat, there's several reasons. One, if you don't clean your plate, you don't get down from the table. This
Yeah.
is emotional training. So people in China or India are starving. So you're guilted to eat. And so overeating, and you've got to clean your plate. Plus, you've been emotionally conditioned. If you're a good girl, you get dessert. So now you're going to get dessert, and now you've overeaten. That's a programming. So the real problem is emotional conditionings around food. Another, again, overeating could be another metaphor of the real cause is that um, buffet eating. I mean, oh my God, souvenir eating, all this food I'll never get again. So you eat and you eat and you eat, you overate and you feel like crap and you feel miserable. Well, you've also been driven by emotional condition training, which is the emotional trainings of, like the lady said, my husband wants to go on a cruise, but I'm so terrified. I go, why? They have buffets. I said, why is that so horrible? It says, I can't stop.
Mm,
And then I said, well, have you ever had, anything similar? She said, well, we were poor, really poor.
mm,
And when they had Sunday socials after church, we would stuff ourselves like a tick because it had to last another week. So again, the overeating is a metaphoric expression of trainings, emotional conditions and trainings. And by the way, no diet will ever fix that. No pill will ever solve that.
yeah.
No exercise program. Now you can be on an exercise program all your life, but that program, if it's still in your head, it's going to make you eat when you're not looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good explanation. All right. And the art of change.
All right. So I created the art of change because most people have a problem and they have no idea why they have a problem. And so to me, I call myself a behavioral engineer. So we de-engineer how you have a problem. We break down how you created this great success called a problem. And so what we will do is I'll ask questions to elicit unconscious strategy. All right. So it's the strategies that your brain will use to create depression, loneliness, any other problem. It's a great expression of the unconscious accumulations of information. So what we're doing is we're using this sequence of questions to draw out how you are creating your current problem. And then what we'll do is we'll undo or update and change those memories and references to the opposite. Then the problem is now no longer a problem, nor is it created because you have new references.
So what is the funniest thing about changing memories?
So what do you mean by the funniest thing? Or the funniest thing ever happened?
And that's the question. What is the funniest thing about changing memories?
Maybe the funniest thing ever occurred.
Maybe
All right,
I would go with that. That would be fun.
I have several of them that there's a process I call the autonomic zap. Basically, you got the problem here, and you take something, and if you zap it, it collapses so fast they laugh without control. I mean, they laugh without control. And so I have a couple of videos I'll add to this, and you guys can kind of see the funny things. It's uncontrollable laughter, unconscious laughter. All right, so it's all over.
It's all over.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it all go.
Let it all go.
Deep breath. Oh, pardon me, I had gas. Too many beans.
I needed the laugh.
You're 19 and you're back in there. It's got a whistle or something around your wrist. Any emotions? Sorry. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. All right, let's go back. You're 19 years old and a whistle around your wrist. I'm not really that talented.
Fart on command.
See, I have a little app here. You thought it was real, didn't you? He rapes you. And it's really sad. There's sexual abuse, the 18-year-old experience, the rape. Can you try to bring any of the
I have tried. I've tested myself to see if I could get upset over, especially the rape that happened when I was 19. I cannot be upset about it anymore.
It's not true anymore then, is
No.
it?
I mean, I know it happened, but it does not affect me now.
I've got a real revulsion to eggshells. Yeah, I struggle, and because I can't see if there's an eggshell there, so I've got to pick it out and I eat tiny bits. And I've trained my children, if they're making eggs, to make sure there's no shells. So they know how to look and pick them out. And we use glass jugs. Do you not all do this? You use glass jugs and you can hold it up and then they go to the bottom. Because that's what you do, yeah? And then because we pick it all out before we cook it, because it's harder once you've cooked it, so I don't like
Doing all the extra work.
doing all that extra work.
They passed a law, eggshells is the number one ingredient. Okay? You're the eggshell queen. All right, so now here it is. Everything you eat has eggshells. All right? And you're getting pretty hungry. That's a lot of eggshell picking. Eat an eggshell. Just eat it. Crunch it down. Boom. Crunch on the eggshells. You feel that crunch? Let it go. Peace. All right, now go ahead and scoop in your food. Put it in your mouth. So you start chewing. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Got that feeling? Let it go. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Crunch, crunch. No surprise. It's a law. Feel the crunch. Got that crunchy feeling?
That's vile.
What?
I can't do that.
How's it feel?
It's horrible.
Horrible. Feel this horrible feeling. And what if there is an eggshell? Is there a big deal? It's not a surprise. It comes with eggs. What'd be really weird is you eat an egg and you find a bean. How did that bean get in my eggs? Or a piece of shrimp. Now that'd be a surprise. Egg time. This is a serious problem. Are you okay?
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. All right, so you were sitting over here. Remember you're sitting over there? And I said, hey, Marion, you got a problem? And you said, yes. And I said, come on up, have a seat. And can you tell us about what your problem is? Can you explain what your problem was?
I was doing well. My family was not well off. We all have money issues like almost everybody here and anybody watching this video if they happen to be watching it. And so I was no exception, but I said, okay, I'm going to be better than my family. So I had a career. It was very successful. And then my identical twin sister passed away, and then I've really struggled financially ever since. So a lot of emotions, kept building and building, and then I was a project director, and that project ended. There were things in that project I didn't like about myself. I wish I'd known about tapping back then. But I didn't, so I went again without a job for about 2 years, and then I found the perfect job. It was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted, exactly what I'd written down, my affirmation. It was so much money. It was exactly what I wanted. So I went in there, but I was still like a bundle of not such good energy. I mean, we've been building all these years, and 6 months later I got fired. I'd never been fired. I mean, people sometimes cry when I leave. So in this case, I ended up crying. But I just see a link between my sister and getting fired and all this energy building up and this lack, and then I just lay in bed and I just think I'm going to end up like a bag lady. I mean, people ask me, are you retired? I'm like, I don't have enough fucking money to retire. Are you kidding me? I'm going to work till I'm 100. If I live that long, which I may. So but I see homeless people, and I'm going like, I could be one of those people.
Well, at least you have a positive attitude.
But it makes me sad, Robert. I sit and I lay on the sofa and I feel sorry for myself and I drive myself into deep panic and I can't sleep. So my identical twin sister, I'm definitely identical. If I look in the mirror, I sometimes see her. And she passed away when she was 40. And it was devastating, as you can imagine. And it was very hard. Life was never really quite the same
Right.
after that. And
Remember that day they fired you.
it makes me want to throw up. The sadness.
Oh, I feel sad then.
I'm sad, yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right. Say it's sad that I'm feeling sad now.
It's sad that I'm feeling sad.
I'm wasting a good moment
I'm wasting a good
where I could be out there working,
when I could be out there working,
doing something good for myself.
doing something good for myself.
My sister is so much more than sadness.
My sister's so much more than sadness.
I've had a lot of good times with her,
I've had a lot of good times with
but
her.
that's not important right now.
But that's not important right now.
I need to be sad.
I need to be sad.
I have a future.
I have a future.
I'm going to be a bag lady.
You look good though.
That's good. Deep breath. Blow it. This is very serious. All right, let's go back again. It's time to be sad.
Okay, get serious then.
Your sister died. It's time.
I'm so sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
That's okay. I'm trying to stay focused.
I am too.
Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Okay.
All right. You remember your sister died? I want you to notice that your sister is still there, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Go give her a big hug. Because she has always been there waiting for you. And as you hug her, she's got a message for you. She's letting you know she's okay, isn't she? Mm-hmm. And she says, it's not going to be fun being a bag lady. Didn't she?
No, she said, fucking get over it. Don't you fucking be a big lady.
And you remember laying on the couch?
Yeah.
Is it so sad?
No, it's actually hilarious. It's stupid. It's really stupid, Robert.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, and then, of course, you took your depression to work. Your perfect job. You're at your perfect job. It was so wonderful. And then
I get fired.
you just witnessed the videos, and why this works is because when you introduce something into a memory that is so opposite, it flips the brain to where it's no longer true, but it's hilarious, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Very good. All right. And did you ever tap on a celebrity? If yes, can you tell?
Yeah, I mean, a football player, local football player. He didn't know he was going to be quarterback, and I said, "Oh no, you're going to be OU's greatest quarterback ever known." He was a red shirt, and in my office, only in my office, because he didn't think he was good enough. He won the Heisman. He was known as one of the greatest OU quarterbacks, and he also was top draft pick. I'm not going to say who it is.
Right. Okay.
And then I worked on actresses. I worked on I was on on the movie called Emotion.
Yes. Can you talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I was in Australia at the time, and they interviewed me, and you can see me teaching how the mind works, expressing how the mind works, tapping, and basically, I don't think it really gives a whole lot about why tapping works, but yeah. So it's yeah. So I'm in the movie called Emotion.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the movie, on the movie set?
Well, there's not much to tell. They put me in a chair, put microphones on me, had lights in my face, and had me talk. That's all.
Okay. Nothing exciting happened. You met other
No,
people.
no,
No?
I didn't meet him. They were all done separately in different locations. So
Oh, okay.
they weren't all together in one room.
Okay, got
They went
it.
remote. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Joe Dispenza, Neil Patel.
Mhm.
I don't remember the other guy.
Well, I think Bob Proctor was
Mark
on there.
Proctor, I think. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah. I think Abraham Hicks was supposed to be on there, but
Yeah,
they cut
they
her.
removed her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were in the movie Emotion. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. What is the secret of building meaningful relationships?
The number one secret, to be honest with you, is yourself. And that means going back and changing the bad relationships you've experienced and witnessed. Uh,
Mm,
we automatically respond to our current relationships and our issues based on what we've experienced and what we witnessed. So our, our parents witnessing their relationship could impact our relationship with others and ourselves.
mhm.
If one of your siblings hate you, bullied you, or someone at school, those are relationships. So you need to learn how to change those because even though, like this one guy I worked with, his whole life was built on a relationship he had with a kid on the bus. So every time he got on the bus, he picked on him, bullied him, attacked him all through school, several years. And so it emotionally indoctrinated him to have a belief about relationship, work relationship, and life. So if you want to solve your relationship problems, which really aren't problems, they're well produced, is you must go back and change how you represent things, change your past relationships, and also there's some things that you need to develop as well. You know,
Right. Well, you're saying that it's not a problem, but when you're in it, it feels like a problem. So can you tell
yeah, it's a rerun
why are you saying it's not a problem?
because it's
Yeah.
a successful outcome. Now,
Yeah.
the bizarre thing is, I could say, hey, anybody on this call, oh, I can see the problem. It's because of this and this. I say, let's go change it. You know what they're going to say? No, thank you.
Mm,
Who will I be without it? If I let
right.
go of it, what bad things are going to happen? So they get to the point where why try?
Hmm.
Especially if you tried a lot of stuff. Most therapies do not work. I mean, they make you feel better for a while, but if they're not changing the memories, you're not changing the problem. And that's where the problem is, it's memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How how do you tap when you have to take, I'm not sure what they mean by this.
I got it what it is. Okay.
Okay, you got
So
it? All
so
right.
okay, solving the problem is not tapping. So if you have a problem and you have a decision you need to make, get a piece of paper down, write the
Mhm.
decision at the top, and then find everything wrong with that decision. Every bad thing you could imagine. Right.
Mm, that's a good
And,
exercise.
and then go and tap out and change all the answers you found. And then when you get the anxiety and the pressure down, then logically you can make a good decision because it is your unconscious references that will make you decide
Right.
a bad
Wow.
decision, which is, by the way, most of the time, most decisions are recycled emotional patterns and structures.
Right. That is such a great exercise. I think we all need to do that.
Well, everybody does. I mean,
Wow.
it's a part of my course, ultimate manifestation process. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, there's
Yeah.
a little
Well,
bit more to it, but yeah, this is the key.
right. Well, we'll make sure we link that as well. Another question is, it's very rare for people to remember tastes and smells within their memory. Why is that?
Now say it one more time.
It's very rare, and this is another practitioner in training asking this question.
Mhm.
It's very rare for people to remember their tastes or smells. Why is that?
Well, because it's not relevant. Now, if it is relevant, it will be there. Now, you deal with people who've been physically abused, sexually abused,
Yeah.
that's food trauma, weight loss, weight gain issues. You'll find it's all there.
Okay. So is that something that you check, or is that something that just comes up while
If
you're
it,
while
if
you're
it's if
updating?
it's if it's relevant, it's relevant. You know,
Okay, got it. All right. And what happens if you don't get it or you can't change a memory and move on with your life?
if you don't get it, what does that mean?
Yeah. What happens if you don't get it or you can't change a memory? So let's go with you can't
Oh,
change a
okay. If
memory
you
or move on from.
So,
Mhm.
what do you do if you can't change a memory, or if you don't? Again, having the capacity and the knowledge and the how to adjust a memory is worth all the gold in the world.
Mm.
Emotional health is the most important aspect about ourselves. And so if you don't understand or you haven't discovered how your mind works, it's very difficult. And let's say, for example, because I come from a different mini modality, I study many modalities. I've come from the EFT modality. Now, the EFT modality is an energy modality. And so they think it's energy, and it really isn't. It's emotions is only one part. Emotions, I will say, is energy, but it's just emotions. And they think, well, if I tap out the emotion, the problem's solved, and that's not true. There's 5 modalities that the mind internalizes the world. Visual is one of them. Emotional or kinesthetic is another. Auditory is another, and taste and smell. And so to have a finished, complete product or a finished, complete memory, um, you must do all 5 modalities. Now, the other 2, smell and taste, most likely won't be there unless it is there. So if you tap to get rid of the feelings, that's only 1/5 of the problem. 1/5.
Mm.
And you can still have the images in your mind of something bad happening, but you can aesthetically don't respond. That program still controls you,
Mhm.
whatever that is. And by the way, as a side note, everything in your memory is yourself.
Mhm. Okay, well, I'll ask some questions too, questions that I have here. Um, Thank you for sharing your work so openly over the years. I successfully used FasterEFT from your YouTube recordings over 11 years ago to release my addiction to cola and coffee. I'm very grateful for that transformation. Right now, I'm facing a different challenge, weight gain. I followed the recent conversations with Crystal and understand the importance of conscious eating and eating only when I'm truly hungry. Still, I seem to be stuck. How do you recommend working with EFT? She doesn't use faster EFT there. She says
That's the
EFT
problem.
with weight gain when weight gain persists despite awareness and the deeper layer what deeper layer should I be addressing?
Well, with weight gain or weight loss, there's some key elements that people may not be consciously aware of. Why you eat, how you know when to stop. Now, there is the emotional component or the stress component in one's life. Uh, they may be eating the same amount that they normally would eat in their life as if they were 17, but now they're 68.
Right.
Well, to them, they're eating normal, and they are eating normal, but not normal for today's body or chemistry because you don't need that much food. And it doesn't take much. And another thing too, people eat unconsciously and not knowing that they ate. People do things without even knowing that they did it. It's like, Who ate all my cookies? Says you got crumbs all over your shirt. Not knowingly, you ate them unconsciously.
Wow.
So there's a lot of elements to this. Um, there's a lot of systems. So what I would do is, and also you could be eating the same amount, but the food you're eating could be extremely unhealthy. High fructose corn syrup may have high calorie content, high carbohydrates. It depends on what you eat. Now, of course, my system that I train, we don't diet. It's against the rules to diet.
Yep, I love it.
And what we do is we look at food as an investment. Now, again, cookies don't love you. Cake and ice cream doesn't care about you. These are not what you call healthy foods. People will eat it because they're emotionally conditioned to eat it. So kind of clean up your relationship with food, and the people who dish the food out will help you create a different relationship. A lot of people, they wake up looking for food. They after they eat, they're planning for the next food. So there isn't an obsession with this as well.
Right. Yeah. So have you worked with people that unconsciously ate, like that they really went around, they didn't know that they were eating. Like they weren't sleepwalking. They were.
No, they're just blind. They just don't see what they've done. And the weird thing is, I had one of my practitioners. She said, "I want you to help me lose weight." All right. So I said, "Okay, that's fine, but here's the rules. You cannot eat unless I'm with you. I mean, we're together in a drug rehab, working together. So
Oh, got it.
all right,
Okay.
so unless I'm
Yeah.
with you, that'd be a good one. I say you can't eat unless I'm with you, and I never see you again. So you'll lose weight.
Yeah.
But no, we was in drug rehab, working together. I was training them,
Right.
and I said you cannot eat unless I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't mindfully eat. They don't even know what they ate. They hadn't tasted their food. They don't nothing. And I said, part of your religion says no caffeine, so you need to cut that out. I mean, that's part of your religion. It's not good for you. Cut it out. Of course, the first thing she does is she cheats. She cheats. She does this and that. I said, listen, you said you want me to help you, but you're not playing by the rules. And why don't they play by the rules? And the reason is because the unconscious information is more powerful. It's more effective. It makes you squirm in your seat and you don't even know why.
Mm.
So that's the reason why a lot of times it doesn't work, is because they don't know how their mind works. They don't know how to adjust it.
Right. Okay. Wow. And then you've worked with people that have that sleep eat as well. Do you know what happens with someone who eats? Like they get up in the night.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
going on that
well,
yeah.
again, people do what they do to survive.
Mm,
Everyone has a different emotional environment.
right.
So, you know, she's driving home and she stops by McDonald's and get 5 Happy Meals. And before she gets home, she eats all 5, dumps it in the side trash can on the highway, and go home and fix dinner for her kids and her husband and has dinner again. These are emotional drivers. There's something here that makes them eat. Now, there are good reasons, like, because see, food is like sex. Food is like love. Food is like I hate you. Food is a lot of different things. Food represents my grandma, represents my dad,
Mm,
represents something. So again, it's not just the food itself, but it's the emotional relationships. And we do it, we don't even know why we do it. The
mm,
guy says, I don't get it. Why do I go to McDonald's? I don't even like their food. But when I'm
mhm.
down, he's a owner of a big corporate business. When he's down, he goes to McDonald's. And I said, well, let me explain this. What people will do is they'll have a positive experience somewhere. So I said, listen, what people will do is they'll have a positive experience and then they go back looking for it. He goes, oh, yeah, yeah, I know. When I was in high school, we'd all hang around McDonald's parking lot, go inside McDonald's, we'd have fun. Of course, we'd eat too. So this was our happy place, right? or happy place. Now, McDonald's are very smart. When they show commercials, they don't show a bunch of big fat people in there eating their food. They're going to see happy, smiley faces. They have kid meals. They even have kid meals for adults because they're selling an emotional fix. And their food isn't real food, you know.
Right,
But
right.
they're selling something. I don't know what you want to call it. They're selling an idea. It's going to make you happy.
hmm Right. Yeah, they're selling happiness, that smile, family connection.
Friend connections, love.
Right.
It's like the beer commercials.
Yes.
It's like the beer commercials in the old days, you know. They see beer commercials,
Okay, tell
young people laughing and having fun, drinking beer, you know. But if you actually go to where they're drinking beer, there's a bunch of old fat guys, you know,
me.
fat
Yes, I
guys
didn't
and toothless women, you know. I'm just being funny, but they're selling you a
Right.
dream, a
Yeah.
pipe dream,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Exactly. Yeah. Make you want to buy some cigarettes and some beer.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. So there was a question. It said, Crystal, what is the biggest change that you've seen since starting in the system?
Hmm.
Well, I would say I actually experienced foundational changes. It's some of the biggest, deepest shifts for me. I think the first one would be grief and loss. That I had a mindset around grief and loss that it was a sad mindset. I mean, I actually didn't go to funerals. So I haven't gone to a funeral. I haven't had to go to a funeral since our session together, since he worked with me. But now I could go to a funeral. Now I could read different Facebook posts. And, everyone has, if you're scrolling through social media, you will notice that, like, oh, the condolences, like it's sad. And you can go into like the negative mindset regarding grief and loss. I just don't have that mindset anymore. It's
Right. Good.
completely different. It has completely shifted. I remember during our session with the grief and loss, I someone in my family intentionally poisoned my rabbit
Hmm.
and to produce some type of pain. I mean, I didn't find out till later on, but when I did find out, that was like a knife in my heart again.
Hmm.
Um, but I remember working with Robert and my head was down and like it's like you shocked me out of this like I remember you saying, wait a minute, what are you doing in your head? I'm like, I'm grieving. It is so sad. And like, I'm like in the depths of it. Like it's because I'm feeling these deep emotions. Anyway, you pulled me out of it and you said you did some reframes with me, we changed a lot of the memory by that point, but I still had the mindset. So we did some of the reframing around that. And I remember you talking about the gift of Daisy.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I totally forgot how amazing Daisy was. Daisy was my best friend. And Daisy would zoom across the floor and then come flying back to me and I'd snuggle with her. Actually, I found out that she was a boy later on. So anyway, now that completely shifted everything for me. Now I remembered all those good times I had with Daisy
Hmm.
and all those good experiences. And so my mindset completely shifted from there. I think today I could go to a funeral, no problem. When someone talks about something sad, I don't start to cry.
Hmm.
If it's really sad and I probably have proofs and references, I would probably go there, but I would be able to shift out of it a lot quicker.
Hmm. That's only one of many changes. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's only one of the foundational ones. And another one that's connected to grief and loss is, I mean, I have been in no contact with my family for 10 years, well, with my dad specifically, 10 plus years. And what I noticed is that, working with you, working with other practitioners, there were certain experiences that I probably couldn't put words to this before, but I would avoid cleaning up certain memories because that linked me to my dad. So that way, And I still have proofs and references regarding dad, but it was my way of connecting with dad.
Hmm.
And I think I think it was last week's podcast, I've done some work on it, so I'm not crying today, but, but I would have gone to, like, I went straight into tears, talk about dad. Oh, I miss him. But I think this is one of the reasons that I avoided doing inner work or not releasing or not shifting it, is because I was connected then to my dad.
Yeah. And it seemed at the time that's the
Mhm.
only connection you had, really. And
It
yeah,
is because I'm not in any contact with family.
yeah.
And, and the people that I built my relationships on, it's basically online communities. It's very different than it was during the days that I went to church. You're connecting with community.
Hmm.
But then, I mean, that's part of the grief and loss for me too, because I got kicked out of churches.
Hmm.
The biggest church that I was connected to, um, it was a non-denominational church, which is a denomination. Um, they kicked me out because I said God wanted them well.
That's a
And
that's a horrible thing to say.
yeah, how dare I say something like that? Right? Well, later on, I mean, they still have the same belief system. Later on, I did have a few people, come back to me years later and say, oh, you know what? I discovered that God really does want us well. And it was something simple, but when I connect with people, I connect with my whole heart. Like, I'm connected, I'll show up for you. And being cut off, the members being told, don't talk to Crystal, don't communicate with her. That was, and then, oh, that irritated those other proofs and references that there's something wrong with me.
Hmm. And that's a big one too.
Yeah, yeah. And then I've also experienced change with my physical body, and like you were talking about before, um, and I mean, you've said this probably on so many podcasts already, that the body doesn't keep the score; it
Right.
expresses it. It's
Right.
expressing it. So for years, I mean, I was probably a teenager when I had eczema, and I didn't know what it was, and it would be so random. So I just thought, oh, it's just so random, it's just a coincidence that it's just showing up. And then um, I think it was last year, especially, I had a rash, like just random rashes that would appear. All of that is gone. Every now and then, I'll have like a rash show up on my middle finger.
Hmm.
And if exactly, if you know what rashes are connected to with the mind-body connection, it's usually anger.
Sure.
And so, yeah, so where I
Good
wasn't,
finger.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I was giving people the bird or myself, right? Because I was the one experiencing it.
Suffering. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was another, and maybe you can explain the mind-body connection and why my body did that.
Well, I mean, with logic, everyone on the call, you can think of a happy memory, a positive experience. As you think of it, it starts to feel real in your body. When you think of an unpleasant memory, it feels real in the body. So the brain will communicate to us consciously by grabbing our body's attention. Now, it does grab it with pictures in the mind and sounds in your head as well. But the body is like an autobiography of our emotional experiences. And then basically it's body language. So
Mhm.
if
Yep.
you've got a lot of anger in your life, people will build arthritis in the joints, anger. Now, again, you look at the books, anger, having stomach problems, you have trouble digesting what's happening in your life, you
Mm,
know,
right.
um, it's just bizarre,
Right. Well,
There was a lady who I was in Australia the first time, and she volunteered and she picked a memory she didn't share us with, and I helped her change the memory. And later on, she said, years later, she said it was an event that happened at school. And it's something she saw. But when I tapped on it, I changed it, the memory adjusted. And then when she drove home, she put her driving glasses on. She couldn't see anything. So she took it off. And for years, she had to have driving glasses to drive, and she had to change her glasses. She didn't have to wear them when she drove anymore. So by merely addressing a memory about something you saw, it adjusted your eyesight.
Mm,
So, I mean, I've seen lots of stories like this, lots of stories, you know.
right. Yeah. Yeah, that is so powerful. I guess the other thing that you helped me work on in a session was shame around my body. I as long as I could remember, as a little girl, I would hide behind my mom. I would hide. I would just hide. Like visibility was not a good thing. And I remember in a session with you, I remember the session. I don't know if I want to say it out loud, but you had me strutting through the mall.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, you had me strutting through the mall, but now I can walk. I can walk. I can go anywhere. I can go to a grocery store. I can go to the mall. I don't care if people are looking at me. Before, I would have hid behind like the apples if I could, like hold the bag of apples up, anything. So it didn't matter if men were looking at me. It didn't matter if women were looking at me. It was just so much easier just to hide, and it felt so uncomfortable.
Right.
But I have a completely different reframe around people looking at me and even clothes. As long as I love fashion, I love dressing classy, but that's not why I would buy clothes. I would buy clothes for coverage. It was like first coverage, okay?
Mhm.
And that was the mindset because if I wore clothes that revealed too much, then it's my fault that the man is tempted. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'll just like layers and layers upon clothes.
Mhm.
But that's totally different for me now too.
Mhm.
So those
So,
changes are
yeah,
huge for me.
yeah, even when you first started these podcasts, you were not very forthright. You was hiding, you know.
Oh, yes, hide behind Robert. Anything. Well, and I think I was very stoic too. Like maybe like, like my face, like I like as still as possible. Like, don't look at me. Maybe if I'm a deer in headlights, you won't see me.
Yeah, and I think you probably learned that it probably affected your school, affected your church, affected your whole existence.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. I was a C student.
Mm.
But remember, I was just learning to survive. In class, I couldn't pay attention. The teachers could talk and I wasn't absorbing or I wasn't receiving the information.
Right,
I was just surviving. And the teachers weren't safe to me either. In fact, students weren't safe to me, people weren't safe to me, the school building wasn't safe, nothing was safe.
right.
So that's like hypervigilance everywhere I went.
Yeah, and then of course, if you're one of those kids who have that same feeling, they say she got ADD or ADHD, she got a learning difficulty, and she really doesn't. It's just
Yeah.
fear, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And even in the beginning of the podcast, I would check out. I check out a lot less now. Because it's like I freeze up and I'm like, I have no idea what you're even saying. Like I'm just gone. And I'm doing that less and less as we clean up these references that I have.
I see,
So
I see that.
yeah, I'm present.
Right. Talk about, being in school, you don't feel safe. One of the ladies I worked with, she's a psychiatric nurse at a local hospital, and she helps kids, right? And she said, when I was in school, they want to label me as ADD or ADHD. And she said, Robert, I couldn't learn.
Yeah.
I was so scared what's going to happen tonight when I get home. I was
Totally.
so worried about that. And of course, they're
Mhm.
going to give these kids a learning disability, not because of what's going on in their head. It's basically what they're doing on a piece of paper or not. And so, unfortunately, a lot of these children, I mean, I work with a lot of adults who were children, and it's all traumatic stuff at school or at home around learning in school.
Mhm.
This one guy, I don't know, I don't know how he was, probably in his 50s or so. He's going back to university to finish his degree or his master's degree. And he said, I have this horrible thing with math. I'm failing math. I'm making straight A's and everything else but math. And so I listened to strategy and come to find out he had a very traumatic experience with his dad at home with math. And I don't know if his dad hit him or what he did around math. He said, you're stupid. You'll never get math. You'll be a failure. We changed that memory.
Mm.
And then he writes me the following week, I made a straight A on my math.
Wow.
Something he'd never been able to do in his whole life.
Wow.
So
Right there.
yeah, it's driven by emotional conditionings.
Yeah. Yeah. That is evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And we
it,
see it all the time.
and I see this a lot with people who are physically ill too. It's the same operating systems. So
Mm. Yeah. I'm so thankful for you, Robert.
thank you.
So do you have a process for that too, or actually you do? Okay. So can you tell people about the peace process that you have?
Yeah. So we have I call it the peace list. Now, the peace list is everything you need to make peace with, right? So everything you need to make peace with. So, we start at birth or before birth. And when I say before birth, I don't believe in past lives, but if you think you have them, you can write them down. But say before birth, like my life, my mother's 14, she ran away from home. She got pregnant, came back home, gave birth to me. So that's before my life, before I was born. So that could impact me if I knew about that, which I did.
Right.
So that will impact me. So if your mom said, well, your dad, he was drunk and he wanted a boy and you're a girl, whatever it is. So these
Right.
events before that. And then, of course, when we look at these experiences, so one of the things that we do in our peace list is first your interpersonal relationships growing up. That means, and we're looking for the bad stuff and not looking for the good stuff. How your dad treated you, how your mom treated you, how your brother treated you, how your sister treated you, how your grandma, your aunts, because all of these are what I call emotional trainers, or I would also call it boot camp. If you go into the military, they're going to put you through boot camp. That means they're going to put you through hell, emotional hell, physical hell, to toughen you up, to make you be a good soldier. That's also called childhood.
Mm.
Your parents, your mother, your dad are conditioning you to fit their army. And that's why you grow up, you act just like your mother. Why? Because your head is full of mother memories. So we want to go change those memories. All right. The second area that you would look at is school. School plays a major role in our identity and our value, how the teachers treated you, how the students treated you, how you feel about tests, how you feel about going to PE. The list goes on. A lot of emotional conditions and stuff that has a negative impact on us. All right. The next area, any dreams or nightmares.
Mm.
People's life will shift because they had a scary nightmare. And the bad thing is they use their conscious logical, to give meaning to nightmares. So they can have horrible nightmares, now be afraid of dogs, afraid of spiders, afraid of flying, all kinds of stuff. And then also you want to write those down, and we want to change those and update those. Memories and stories in which you were told. The young girl sitting on grandma's lap, and she's telling you the horrors of war. She's
Mm.
telling the horrors of how your grandpa or your dad was, telling the horrors of your childhood and your being birthed. Stories we're told, will impact your world. And you think about it, back in the old days, they read this fairy tale book called Grimm's Fairy Tales. There's nothing but horror stories to scare children.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you go read them. They're scary. They're horror stories.
No, I don't want to. I don't
And
want to
they
read
they
it.
and they train your children to be fearful.
Wow.
The number one fear in the world is fear of public speaking, and that is trained in school.
Right.
They have to use something to intimidate the children and keep them quiet. And then if you're one of the talkers, they send you a list home. I will not speak in class and have it write 1,000 times. They're
Right.
teaching public speaking fears. So
Mm.
that's another area. So
Yep.
tests, all things that happen in school. Religions do a number on people. Bad religious trainings, bad religious understandings, or fears around that.
Hmm.
Sexual exposure, early
Right.
sexual exposure, older sexual exposure, any sexual inappropriate behaviors towards you. Very impactful. They change your body. They make you sick. They make you create identity about your values of self.
Mm.
Then your love relationships, your friend relationships at school. They have the bad parts, you know,
Mhm.
illnesses, accidents, all affect us today. And
Wow.
as you continue moving forward,
Hmm.
uh, your financial experiences, what you witness at home, what you experience at work, money. All of these things affect you. They have a negative impact on they carve out a life for you that may not be so good. So we talk about relationships, we talk about illnesses, we talk about your love life, we talk about sexual exposure, we talk about illnesses. Childbirth is a very big one for some women.
Oh,
Their lives have totally been screwed up because of giving birth to a child. You
yeah.
know, postpartum depression is because they're scared. Their
Mm,
whole identity is now shifted. Their body is changing. They're being stuck with this thing that you had to take care of the rest of your life, you know? The
right.
birthing process, breastfeeding is horrible and painful, they tell me.
Mm,
And then of course, your husband is avoiding you. You got things coming out of your body that you don't like, all kinds of weird stuff. And then being a father or a husband, it impacts them too because it's weird stuff too. This is
mhm.
good. And then I've worked with women, that's where their depression comes from. That's where their fibromyalgia comes from because of it was a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
all of these impact us. And another big area is death, losses of innocence, major moves. I've lost all my friends when we moved to a bigger house.
Right.
All of these impact you. So we have people write a long, exhaustive list. And now, of course, when I do sessions, if I have a good list, I can get me a nice, good flow. I can do an overview of all the connections, the belief systems. I can change a lot of memories in a single 2 hour session. Uh, and it also gives us an areas that we want to work on and clean up too.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, so that's what I do. And another thing too, just remember this: you are responsible for your healing and your transformation. No one can do it for you. Now, granted, you have to pay for the session, you have to show up for the session, you have to give your information, and we can help you change it.
Yeah.
You are responsible for your health and well-being. And based on what you do inside you and based on what you adjust, your life will follow those changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Wow, that was another really good process for people to take advantage of. Write it down and then clean it up, do something with it.
yeah.
So for the people that might look at like the sessions and think, "Why I don't want to pay for this." Like, what would you say for that? Because I think that's one of the biggest issues for people is I really don't want to pay for it.
Well, they don't have to. I mean, it's okay. I mean, to
Right.
be honest with you, it's a very scary thing to look inside yourself. And, we look for ways to avoid our pain. Now, unfortunately, what I do, it's not like therapy. When we address things, whatever we
Mhm.
address are done.
Right. It
And
changes.
yeah, it changes. You can't bring it back. You know what happened,
Yes.
you know what occurred, but you're not there anymore. Right?
Hmm. Yep.
Uh, Most people may, it's not talk therapy. Matter of fact, you can bring a memory to me. You never share me one word of it. And I help you change it.
Mhm.
So again, it's not about talking because I wish talking and logic could get rid of your problems, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
They operate on two different fields, or two different roads, or two different planets. Neurologically is one, logically does not solve your neurological information. You have to go to that memory and adjust it.
Right. So back to the price of the session, because that's one of the biggest objections is money.
Mhm.
Uh, so what is the mindset around that? Is it
Well, again, I mean, there's a thing about people
okay?
is that they don't value
Mm.
personal changes. And they look at it, said, I tried everything else, nothing else worked. This won't
Oh,
work either.
got it right there.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
already tried. I mean, they
Yes.
they believe that, this
Mhm.
magic wand or this great religion or this great,
Yes. Yeah.
ayahuasca, whatever it is, microdosing, that stuff doesn't work unless it changes memories, and they're not really designed to change memories.
Hmm.
No.
Right. Yeah,
You can have a
exactly.
good feeling, you can have a good connection with people, and it may feel spiritual, but the memories aren't changed. You don't have a change. You just had an experience.
Right. Hmm. All right. What other questions? All right. Why do I react so strongly to small things?
Mhm. Well, there is a conditioning. If you come from an environment that's pretty, I say toxic, but more, you never know when they're going to get you. You know, you got to be hyper alert. Every slight
Yes.
noise you jump, you're always noticing. You know, like I work with a person who's lives in Israel. All kinds of weird stuff happens in Israel. There's bombings, there's knifing,
Right.
there's, or you don't even have to come from Israel. You can come from one of your families. There's all this
Yeah.
chaos. There's 12 kids. You never know who's going to punch you in the back of the head. So you become super hyper vigilant. You
Mhm.
never know when mom's going to fly off on the handle, dad's going to fly off on the handle. You never know when the kids are going to pick on you at the school. So you develop what you call hypersensitivity. It's almost like you're a dog with your ears up and you're just noticing any slight sound and you jump.
Mhm.
And that's because inside you, you're scared. You want to protect yourself. You know, there's a lot of variables to this, a lot of
Yeah,
scenarios. You know,
absolutely.
you've been
Yeah.
in a relationship with a narcissist, male or female, because they both do it. And everything you do is wrong. Every slight move, they yell at you.
Yes.
They call you stupid. They call you ignorant. They second guess everything you say or do. You become be hyper vigilant, you know.
Yes, exactly. And you live that way that it becomes so normal that you don't even realize you're in it.
Yeah, you don't. And if you
Yeah.
come from a toxic environment as a child, you're going to find a toxic job.
Ah,
You know, you look at
right.
police officers, nurses sometimes, doctors sometimes, preachers sometimes.
Hmm.
You know, they, especially police officers, military people, or people come from the military, being police officers, they've had a lot of trauma and they had to figure out how to survive the trauma. So they built mental fortresses within themselves, but it still comes out, you know. Every one of them has come from usually a rough life, not all of them.
Hmm.
So, but that it takes that type of person to be able to handle that type of people when you go out on the streets.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
you've got a
Right.
brother's always going to attack you and beat you up. You learn to be hyper vigilant.
Yeah.
And if you're on the street with your as an officer or an ICE agent, you got to be aware. You don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get killed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good response to that one.
yeah,
That's
and
a
I've
good
worked with a lot of people, because I volunteered in drug rehab for 10 years, over 10 years.
one.
And when you work with addicts, you work with the top shelf of traumas, PTSD's traumas. These guys are coming from the military. Some of them were police officers and they witnessed things. They couldn't handle it. And so what they do is they try to find a way out.
Hmm.
They do gambling, sexing, texting, shopping, drinking, drugging, and drinking and drugging. Those are really great highs. They
Hmm.
hijack the bad stuff until it starts wearing out. Then it starts driving them crazy. The lady who has 6 pairs of the same shoe and 12 shirts of the same color, same brand,
Right.
because her grandma take her shopping and it was such a feel good, felt loved. So now life sucks. She
Hmm.
goes shopping and she gets on a temporary high, but she
Hmm.
also has a house that only had pathways to the bathroom and to the bedroom because all the stuff she bought is stacked on both sides. And some of the boxes, or a lot of the boxes, were never opened.
Wow. And so that's connected to hoarding as well.
That's the same system.
That's the same system. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. So I hope
Also,
that.
also dealing with, even dealing with cutters, and addicts. This woman, her name is OC, and she was in drug rehab. And of course, she come from an incestuous family. And I said, well, why do you cut? I don't get it. Why do you cut? She says, well, I'm in such emotional pain. When I cut, I can feel the release,
Mm.
temporarily release. I said, yeah, but you got 1,000 cuts. It never
Ah.
released it. You still have to keep cutting.
Mm.
And that's the same as a drug addict, the same as a foodaholic. People who are obese, they use food because they're lonely, they're sad, they're missing someone, or there's something empty. There's a reason, you got to be a good girl, clean your plate. All of these
Yeah.
are operating from the same operating system.
Right. And so if they cut and they feel the pain of it, it's kind of like a distraction.
It's a distraction, and it's also it's like somebody said, I'd rather you beat me with a stick than to go inside my head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
And that's why a lot of people would rather be sick because they're afraid of what's in their mind.
wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Is it normal for people to feel numb instead of sad?
Well, this not abnormal. For some people, it's a coping skill. We heard of that you fight, you flight, or you check out. That's numb and dumb. If you come from an environment, you show emotions is dangerous, you learn to cut it off. You
Mhm.
numb out. Some will call it fawning, which you just check out.
Mhm. Yeah,
So it depends on where you're coming from.
right.
Depends where you're coming from.
Yeah. Can you explain fawning? That it is for
Well,
some people, it's a
well,
new term.
well, the top three, you fight, you flight, you freeze fright. And then they threw in fawning. Fawning is that you just go along with it. You just give in, you go along. So
Hmm.
it's not like you're frozen, but you just go along.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and you stay close to the one that can hurt you the most.
Oh yeah, well that's another thing too. We call it.
Yeah.
You can also call it trauma bonding. They're bonding because
Yes.
of this experience.
Yeah.
The weird thing about these experiences, you're getting a value from that abuser. You know, they can hurt you, and it's a mirroring of mama or daddy and the child. You had to give in, so it's a programming too.
Right. Yes, exactly. Ooh, that was a good one. All right. And why do boundaries feel so cruel?
I don't understand cruel,
Yeah. Well, that's a question that people are asking. Why do
but
boundaries feel so cruel? Like
well, I like it feels what?
it feels like saying no is hurting someone's feelings.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I don't understand the meaning. Well, let
Yeah.
me just say what boundaries are. I'm going to draw a line in the sand and don't cross it or I'm going to get upset. Don't break my boundaries. Now, again, why is it cruel? So maybe they're saying, well, if I draw a line in the sand, they can't do that. I feel like I'm being mean to someone else. I guess that's my guess of what they're saying.
Mhm.
But let me explain what a boundary is and why they're useless. Because this is coming from the logical understanding of psychotherapy.
Mhm.
And they're going to say, Crystal, you just need to create a boundary. That means
Yeah.
a line in the sand, and you say, don't cross this line.
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
Now, they're not doing why you need a boundary. They're not fixing the cause that you need a boundary because they don't know how.
Hmm.
Or why do you need a boundary? Because I get hurt. All right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I would say, well, let's go see why you're hurt and change the hurts. Then you don't need a line in the sand. You become the line.
There we go. I love when you
Uh,
talk about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because see, the
Yeah.
problem is we're talking about people who don't change memories. They don't know how to change the cause. So we're going to say, I want you
Right.
to be strong and don't let them cross this
Right.
imaginary line. Now, the problem with boundaries, you put boundaries all around you, you're all alone in the middle of these boundaries, like walls for keeping you stuck inside
Right.
your own miseries. Because
Yes.
you can still be tormented without
Exactly.
ever crossing the line
Yes.
because the torments are in you.
Hmm.
And,
Exactly.
and so what we do is we change the torments.
Right. Yeah. I've been told to set boundaries like a million times by high level coaches, like, I mean, pastors, counselors, like it does, everyone's telling you to set a boundary. Meanwhile, I stay a doormat. And so I communicated a boundary and I could communicate it all sheepishly. I've done it. Now what? Like, I still feel the same.
Right, because you didn't change the reason why. You didn't change
Exactly.
the hurt. You didn't change the emotional conditions that
Yeah,
built the weakness you call weakness. It's not a weakness, it's a survival skill.
totally. It was protection to be the
Yeah.
doormat.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because you don't have to fight, you don't have to get hurt
Yeah.
again, and you just go along. You're just a little fawn.
Well, I did the fawn response quite a bit too. Stayed
Yeah.
as close as to the one that can hurt me the most.
Yeah. So they won't hurt you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. We've talked about all these different things. So why does eutaptics and faster EFT work?
Why it works is because it's a complete operating system. It utilizes the unconscious information. We give it instruction, tell the brain what we want to do, how we want to do it. We have a belief system that says, first of all, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. Secondly, we know that your current problems are successes. And so we de-engineer it. We break it down, forget what you're doing. Then we go to the causes, which are experiences, and we update the memories. Memories are the creators of all of our problems. That means memories are how to do something, how to stay in alignment with something, and how to produce something. So to be a doormat, you got to have a lot of good references why it's important. We don't like the results of being a doormat. So what we have to do is we have to go to the memories and we adjust memory. Now, memory is, again, if you understand, memories are just information written in the cortices. It's not really what happened. It's what our brain created and what we witnessed and created within ourselves. So that means a negative memory is a how to live my life. It's my role, it's my identity, and it's my world. So when we start adjusting the kinesthetics, which is the feelings, we adjust the images, the sounds, the expressions, the voices, the words, if there's smells, and we adjust those. Now remember, memory is not real. It's internally created. But for you, when you go visit a bad memory, it sure feels real today. Even though it happened 20 years ago, you actually went into what I would call a hypnotic trance. You went into a trance. You're almost as if you went back in time. I'll create a little image of, that eutaptics is your time machine with a DeLorean. Because what we will do is we'll go back to your past at 12 years old. We change that memory when you were 12, where you're not bitten by the rattlesnake. You're not in pain. And then you walk out the door without pain.
That's right. Yeah. And in the communities that talk a lot about self-development, they'll say you jump timelines. So you jump a timeline. You change the direction of your life when you do that, because now you're going to make different decisions and choices because you changed something back there.
Mm-hmm. And another thing too, like in front of your life, every one of your life, you have many futures waiting for you, many futures.
Yes.
And like you're walking this way.
Yeah.
If you bump a memory and you change it, you're going to go to a different direction.
Yes.
If you change that into another bad memory, you get rid of that one, you start changing your whole direction.
Oh.
When you were 5 or 7 or how old you were, and that event that happened to you that hurt you, it altered your future.
Yeah.
It changed your direction. It changed how you saw yourself. It changed how you saw other people, and it changed how you represent the world. And sometimes it only took 1 second or 5 seconds.
Goodness. That is so exciting to know that you can absolutely change your future. So if you feel like your life is garbage right now, or maybe you're just picking up pieces, you know that you can change it.
Yep.
It will change.
With skill. Yeah, I mean,
With skill. Yes.
it
So
takes
keep on,
skill.
explain it to us how this works.
Yeah, with skill. Because, I'm in some of these Facebook groups, it's living with PTSD, dealing with PTSD, all this stuff. And of course, you see it all the time. PTSD is a brain injury. It's, they're always saying, and it's almost like it's a pissing contest who is more messed up than the other.
Right.
And be honest with you, PTSD, it's not a D. It's not a disorder. It is a disorder. People don't know how to change it. Post-traumatic stress is basically your brain's reaction to what used to be. Your brain's reaction to what used to be. So something happened, negatively happened. Your brain took something from that. It internalized that, and it created programs to operate from it as if it's real and true today. So having panic attacks and anxieties is the brain's way of keeping you in alignment to what happened so it won't happen again. Now, some people have complex PTSD. What's the difference? Complex means it's you got a shitload of trauma.
There's more there.
I mean, you could have been born into an environment that's trauma rich. Basically, you're emotionally conditioned to be hypervigilant. You have a lot of triggers on left and on the right, above you and below you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's the differences. Is one is more intense, have more. I mean, everybody has it. Most people think, "Well, I don't have PTSD." I said, "Well, you don't understand what PTSD is."
Right.
To a
Mhm.
child, moving from one home to another was very traumatic. They lost their friends, they had to start a new school. That's trauma. No one was beaten, no one was raped. An unwanted change occurred. We have these traumas. Now, I call traumas just an education on the world.
Mhm.
Now, depending on how you represent the change or the event, is what your brain will recycle on you.
Mhm.
So you're not broken, you're not screwed up. And of course, unfortunately, if you go to some of these therapies and they can't change memory, they're going to milk you dry. It's going to take a long time. You're going to feel, you might feel a little better, but you'll notice you still got the problem.
Mhm.
I've worked with people with severe traumas, big traumas, and they can't even make it come back. They know it happened. It's almost like they read somebody else's story in a book. They're not there. It's not theirs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the kinds of shifts that we see
Oh yeah,
with
big
the
time,
system.
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talked about the pissing contest, like that's really what it is. You see these people, well, I had this. Can you explain why people like what's the behavior around that? Like my trauma is bigger than yours.
Well, I mean, you just think about it. You've had some bad things happen to you, and to you it's real, and it is real inside you.
Yeah.
And of course, we want them to fix us outside of us. They get mad. Why is it they messed us up, but yet we're responsible for fixing it?
That's it.
Like
Yeah.
I said
That's
that.
it.
I said, well, they didn't mess you up. They have impacted you. Your brain took from that experience, and what you took from it is what you're responsible for.
Hmm.
It happened 20 years ago. Why are you still acting like it's real today? Because your
Yeah.
brain holds it today.
Yeah.
So when you get this idea that I can change me from within me, if I have skill and understanding. Now, again, like I said, most therapies don't know how to change memories.
Hmm.
That means you'll be talking about it forever.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's why what your system, it's one of those foundational beliefs, like it's living in the upper model of the world. And that's part of why your system works so well. Because yes, you have the skill to change the proofs and references, but you also have the belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So if they had like with grief and loss, you have a belief system and it's
Structure. Yeah.
completely empowering. It doesn't leave you stuck and it doesn't leave you broken and it doesn't leave you with a
Miserable.
disorder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then leave you miserable. You're free.
Yeah.
You keep the gift.
Yes. Exactly.
Even though it wasn't a girl, you still liked him. Her, it, the rabbit.
Oh yes. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
it's the reason why a lot of people, when a death happens, their brain highlights the last moment and amplifies it. It overshadows all the good.
Yeah.
But when we dissipate the pain and the hurt and the guilt and anything else involved with it, then all of a sudden the good memories pop up. They overshadow
Yeah.
the last one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what took place with Daisy. And for everybody else that, I mean, if you're one of the weepers, I mean, I think it like in the Eastern culture, they had the mourners that were paid for that. I mean, I could have been one of them.
No, yeah. I know Sue LaRue. She recently passed,
Oh.
and she said, if I go to the funeral, they think I'm the grieving widow. I mean, I didn't even know the person, and I'm grieving.
Yeah.
And so she her whole life was just a sadness, and she accumulated and built sadness over events and things in her life, and
Yeah.
she had 19 orthopedic surgeries to be able to walk, and
Wow.
so by merely addressing this, she's no longer the grieving widow.
Hmm.
But we do keep and honor the good stuff. And the bad thing is that our brain accumulates a lot of memories together, and they put it in one big box. Next thing you know, boom, it all blows all over your face. You and I both know Sherry, and Sherry, her mother had died, her husband died, her dog died, she got scammed, and she was crying every day.
Wow.
She'd put her makeup on, go to school, come back home and cry herself to sleep.
Mm.
And for I don't know how long, for quite some time. And then she booked a session. We clean all up. She's not crying anymore. The tears are gone.
Right. Yes, she's living.
Yeah. So that's the point. Is life is meant for living, not suffering.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
broad is the road to destruction and miserable and sadness. Broad is that road. A lot of people have no skill. They have no
Wow.
way out. The only way out is to die like grandma and grandpa and mom and dad did, to
Well,
suffer like them.
that's the first time I've heard that scripture reference used like that.
Yeah. And
Very good. I like that.
well, I will say this, narrow is the way. And that is
Mhm.
taking ownership of your mind, doing what's right, let go of the past, forgiving everybody. Forgiving means releasing it from your mind, uh, walking in the now, being real here. That's not an easy road. Both of them takes a lot of work. One of them is miserable work. I mean, it's really hard on you. It's a miserable death. And the other one is cleaning up, ownership, and moving forward. You're going to find your dark days to clean up. You're going to find the triggers, but at least now you can clean it up. The other guys, they just cry together and they die together.
Great. Wow. Well, any closing thoughts for our listeners?
Guys, if you like this information, share it with your friends. If you like this information, subscribe. If you like this information, come join me. Watch the videos, take a course, learn to be your own best friend. You only have one life, and that life is not really meant for suffering. It's meant for living. And as you live better, you act better, you feel better, your kids may mirror your life. You may start to be healthier and stronger and better. And life will be a gift, not a dreaded curse that's built over the years of your life. So I just say, learn to be your own best friend, learn to take ownership of how you think and process the world, and be the light in your community, in your family. Be emotionally responsible for yourself. If you got kids, they could sure use this. It'll save them lots of misery. So I just say, learn to be your own best friend. Take ownership, change your life, create a life beyond what you ever thought possible, beyond your parents.
Well said. Well said.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Robert Jean Experience. Check out the links in the show notes to explore sessions, tools, and resources to help you navigate life's transitions. And also subscribe to the podcast to stay connected and get that front row seat for Robert's insights, wisdoms, and stories to help you fully step into a beautiful life.
Good job. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Peace.
Yeah, peace.
Guys, if you really like this content and it's really helping you, I bet you can think of other people you could share this with, and do share it. And help me get this news out. Subscribe, share the videos, practice what I'm sharing with you, make it a part of your existence, and you can have a better life. Other people need it too. So keep sharing, keep working on yourself. Take some of my trainings, your life will get better.